Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So just like a river coming down from the Himalayas, our tradition, our Vedic tradition, comes down in a line of sages, and arts, music, writing, like that culture came down like from the Himalayas. We can see here in the corner the Himalayas, waterfall coming down. This is Badrik Ashram. This is a depiction of Badrik Ashram. So our tradition begins with Veda Vyas. We can see Vyasadeva here, and we just chanted a mantra to him, and he's giving down, speaking scriptures. Of course they were written down by Ganesh, but in the depiction here I'm showing Satsvarupa Das Goswami. He's touching the feet of Veda Vyas, who is the head of our tradition. He's touching his feet, and there's a pile of his literatures here. He's written over 200 books. So what an amazing way to share the Vedic knowledge coming down in disciplic succession. I've called this a lifetime. He's made a lifetime of writing in the tradition, in the Vedic tradition, being inspired by the gurus in parampara, and that's an offering. And this particular ashram, this particular Viraha Bhavan, it is a place of arts, writing, culture, coming in the Vedic tradition. And he's living like a traditional Vedic guru who stays in one place, or a teacher who stays in one place. And people come to visit, and you can learn so many things. I've had a link with him for a number of years. 20 years we've known one another. This is a small combined work representing, in the background of his writings. He's a great writer. And then I've got a picture of him here painting. The piece is called Outreach. Art, music, writing, these are ways of preaching the written word, or our process is to hear, but also the visual arts. So he's also connecting the world with modern day, if you like, modernism, impressionism. They're just different ways of sharing and exciting people about the truth and ancient stories, just like this is one of his works here. Quite childlike, full of innocence, and it's termed as outsider art, or art brut, a technical name for that. It's a school of untaught artists who are just inspired from the heart. It's art from the heart. So it comes directly from the soul, and in essence it shows the essence. But in his own words, his work may challenge the establishment. But that's a sign that people are pricking up their ears, and it may open hearts, and especially for people that like the idea of something new and fresh, like old wine in new bottles. The philosophy is old and ancient and full of truth, but the way of presenting it is, if you like, in a modern way, in new bottles. So that's the wisdom. So we're actually in the basement of his house. It's in the basement, like in the bilge of a ship. This is like a bhajan kutir, and you can see there are many literatures inspiring the written word, And then this is his place of painting. He comes down just a regulated amount of time, and we've been sharing our friendship for 20 years. He's by far my senior. I'm full of respect and honor him as my senior and a teacher. And but at the same time, we share on a level of friendship and inspirational exchange of art and the love of poetry that connected. Writing and expression, visual expressions are quite often in the Japanese tradition, in the Chinese tradition, in the Indian tradition. It's very, these two go hand in hand, art and the written word or poetry or literature. So very inspirational place to be, and I'm full of gratitude for his association and his kindness and his mercy to give me shelter in his ashram. We come every 1 or 2 years, we come to visit and share. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So Gauranga. Here we are. It's like being, if you can imagine being in the bilge of a ship. We're down in the basement in Viraha Bhavan, the house of separation of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the deity celebrating Vipralamba or separation. This is one of his most intimate pastimes. We've depicted here in the basement. It's actually of him getting caught in the fisherman's net at Jagannath Puri, where his limbs, he's in the sea, floating, and his limbs, they're elongated. Sometimes he condenses his body, like in the Gambhira, and other times he completely expands, where the arms and legs are fully expanded. So he's underneath the sea here. So in the bilge, like being in a submarine, we're like down here, and you can see some fish. So we're under the sea, and he's caught in the fisherman's net. So the fisherman, of course, touched his body. He pulled him up in the fishing net. The fisherman at Puri, traditional there, he touched the body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he couldn't stop saying, Hari, 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 Hari. He became ecstatic. Just touching the body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became ecstatic. He couldn't stop. So that's the pastime. And we did this 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago, we did this in the basement. It started off as a painting, and it grew into a bas relief. And it suits because it's underground. It's, like I say, it's like being in a submarine viewing down here. So, and it's an expression of, if you like, the freedom of expressing oneself with art, not coming from any particular school, just an inspiration that comes through the soul, and that's the best expression. So this is a current series of work. This year I'm doing some work for the Mossa. It's a trust based on supporting artists and exhibiting their work in Europe, and these are commissioned works of the Dasa avatar. I'm putting by the grace of Krishna, Mahaprabhu, he's in charge of the Mossa. It's a workshop or a series of studios, an institution which encourages artists, Indian artists, traditional artists, and he supports a lot of ISKCON artists. So I'm doing a depiction here of the Dasa avatar. So this is one, of course, of the famous story of the avatar Viraha, who dives down and like a hog and rescues the earth from the bottom of the ocean. It's stuck in the mud. It's lost its balance because of misappropriation of use of the earth's resources. Then the oil is sucked out of the earth. It lost its balance and fell to the bottom of the ocean. This happened in previous times, many thousands of years. Viraha was an incarnation who came, the animal who likes to dig in the earth. So he dives into the bottom of the ocean, lifts up the earth on his tusks. So similarly we'll do the other avatars. You can see here, I've started, you can see this is Korma, it's the previous avatar, and we can see here Matsya, fish incarnation. They all have pastimes. They come in different epochs or periods of history in the Vedic. To many they seem like mythologies, but to us they're the reality and the absolute truth, and the pastimes are linked with holy places in India. You can see an evolution even amongst the different species, beginning from underneath the sea, Matsya, then half sea, half land, the tortoise creature, then coming out of the sea, the wild primitive beast, and then as the Dasa avatar progresses, then we go to Nrsinga, half man, half lion, and then from there we go to the dwarf incarnation, like a dwarf man, and then from there the wild forest man, Parashuram, and then the civilized man like that up to Buddha and Lord Balaram. So the Dasa avatar, that's part of my exhibition, which will be happening in 2020 in Europe with the Moshe galleries in Belgium. So just spending some time in Viraha Bhavan, a great place for doing the work, and it'll be going to Europe for the exhibition in a couple of years' time. And so Satsvarupa Maharaj was also given, he had an exhibition there some time back. He had an exhibition in the Moshe Gallery, and we've got a catalogue of his work. So like that I'm following in his tradition. Of course my own style is there, just like Kirtan leaders, they inspire one another, but each particular personality has their own authentic, original style which comes with our own individuality. So although I'm inspired by Maharaj and his work, hopefully we can, if you like, maintain our own authenticity as individuals and be original in our own way. This is the grace of God. Hare Krishna.